In this video, I'm going to talk about how to improve the state and quality of your life if you feel like things haven't been going in the right direction. And I'm going to be talking about it in terms of more of a spiritual lens. I'm not going to be talking about your typical self-improvement, go to the gym, weight loss, blah, blah, blah kind of stuff. Because ultimately, I think many people are fooled into thinking it's the external that needs fixing, and when I accomplish all these things, then I'll be happy. But what I've learned in my journey is it really comes from within. If you feel like you're stuck in a rut or things aren't going well in your life, the first thing to realize is that you may have labeled or constructed a narrative of I'm stuck, things aren't going well for me, I'm stuck in a rut. And this narrative needs to shift. Because if you are focused on this narrative, if you are focused on the story, you will move through life with a victim's attitude. And the first thing you want to do here is to move from a victim's attitude to, okay, sensations are rising that may not be comfortable, but I can change this. I can move from where I'm at to a space of more wholesome thoughts and emotions. By recognizing, number one, there is a pathway out of dissatisfaction. There is a pathway out of suffering. And that's what the Buddha taught. He taught there was a path out of dukkha. And the path out of dukkha is to, well, firstly, you have to recognize you're stuck in the mud. So right now, recognizing it feels like you are stuck in the mud, recognize that. That's a good thing. You can recognize, okay, it feels like things aren't going well right now for me. But instead of judging or criticizing yourself for it, what if you could celebrate it? You could celebrate, all right, it doesn't feel so pleasant right now. There are things in my life, and I wish that those things were something else. I wish I was better at whatever. I wish I had different qualities that I don't have in my life. And these mental fixations, these belief systems, these thoughts that are circulating in your mind are the thing that is preventing you from feeling whole, complete, and satisfied right now. So what you have to do is you have to accept whatever is happening. You have to accept, oh, okay, I feel this way, I accept that. This is important for many reasons. I think the first reason, and one of the most important reasons, is if you feel stuck or things aren't going well, if you have an addiction like a pornography addiction, you get stuck in the cycle or loop of blame and shame. If you've studied David R. Hawking's Map of Consciousness, you know that there are different levels of emotions. There are different frequencies that these emotions operate on. And guilt and shame, these are emotions that in a way drag you down. They drag you down, they take away your energy, they make you tired. On the other hand, being in a state of, joy, happiness, or acceptance, these are emotions that raise you. They raise you up, they give you energy. And a simple analogy is, well, think of a time when you were really happy. Did you have more energy or less energy? You had more energy. When you are blaming yourself or feeling depressed, you probably have a lot less energy. And so to get out of this cycle, the number one key is to accept wherever you are at. It's to say, okay, I accept this. I accept this is where I'm at. It's okay. I see it now. I see it clearly. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. You can tell yourself this. It's okay. Because ultimately the story you tell yourself creates a reality. Your perception of you reinforces what you think about and what you are going to do in the future. If you think you are a loser, you'll continue to play small, play weak, and your body will shrink and shrivel away, and you won't feel satisfied. You won't feel like you can even focus on things that make you a winner. You will feel small. But if you feel like I'm a winner, if you have a winner's mindset, that will expand you and expand your energy. But to get to that winner's mindset, we first must have to accept, okay, these thoughts are arising. That's all right. It's all right. It's okay. And when the thoughts do arise that pull you down, that make you feel like you are not enough, just look at them and celebrate that you've caught the thought. Celebrate. Wow, I see you now. I see you now, and I'm going to change it by giving your mind 2 new thoughts. Consciously decide, I'm going to think good thoughts. I'm going to think of a more wholesome thought here. And you keep doing that until your mind starts to shift a little bit. Your attitude starts to shift a little bit. Now, acceptance is that key that stops the cycle. Because if you can't accept that I continue to, be addicted to pornography, if you can't accept that, you'll continue to blame yourself and shame yourself. And the blame and shame will make you feel bad. Well, what happens when we feel bad? We relapse. So we'll feel bad again. We'll relapse. We'll feel bad again. And now we've stored all this collective trauma in the body. Instead, if you relapse, you say, that's okay. That's all right. It just happened. And you continue to tell yourself that. That is the number 1 first key. Now let me talk about the next part. Okay, so you have the mental practice, which is to observe, to change your thoughts, and to be mindful, and to inquire into the belief systems that created them, inquire into the core components of the sensations by looking into the sensations and seeing what are these composed of. Very important. You may notice that it feels really personal. There's this personal aspect to it. And what I've learned is the personal aspect is what keeps it stuck. In Buddhism, there is this idea of 3 characteristics: impermanence, no self, and dukkha, suffering. Now, the aspect of no self basically means it feels personal, but it's not. Because the truth is, it is not personal at all. The truth is, the feeling that this is personal, this is my story, is purely a fabrication. And that fabrication is causing you to feel stuck. If you can see through that veil of illusion, if you can look into, wow, these sensations, or this story that I've constructed, this belief system, is not really personal at all. It was a series of events, and they happened, but in my mind, I've constructed and created a story, and this story is keeping me stuck. So if I can keep recognizing when I'm stuck, if I can keep seeing that my stories are bullshit, if I can keep looking into the belief systems that have created this BS story, then I can start to unwind the attachment, the strong belief that this is me, and by disentangling yourself from it, you move from feeling like everything's very solid to everything now moving into a liquid sort of form, to air. And the analogy I'm trying to make here is, before, your story feels really stuck to you. It feels really sticky. And you feel so defined by it. Later on, it moves to a kind of flow. And you feel less stuck to it. You can ride the waves. You can move into the direction you want to move into. You're still kind of carried by it. Eventually, it's moved into air, where it's purely, you truly see the illusory nature of that. And so the more you can see the illusory nature of the thing that's keeping you stuck, the more you will be disentangled from the complex web of interactions that is being operated in your mind. And then when thoughts do arise that aren't so wholesome, you will be coming from a different place, a different perspective, and that different perspective will result in the unwholesome not feeling so bad. And it will result in that unwholesome shifting into more wholesome, and it will result in the unwholesome flying by and moving by on its own without you having to really do anything. Or at least it will feel that way. So the mental component, the mind component. But I think I should not understate the benefit of having a somatic practice. I think this is really neglected in a lot of communities that focus on the mind, or spiritual communities, but they haven't really integrated the body element. There's a great book called The Body Keeps the Score, or Embodied Healing. These all talk about the somatic element or somatic component to it, that in our bodies we accumulate traumas and tensions. Hinduism has known about this for quite a while. They call it samskaras. And in the yogic tradition, many yoga postures help to alleviate or move energy in the body and, in a sense, regulate that nervous system. This is something Western science is only figuring out now, which is the importance of the body. So make sure you have a somatic practice. I would recommend TRE, trauma release exercises. I'm going to make a video on it. Or anything that regulates that nervous system, like yoga or body touch, anything like that. You basically want to focus on feeling safe in the body. 2 more things you can do is either laughing or crying. These are release mechanisms. They release tension from the body when you laugh or when you cry. It doesn't really matter. It focuses on that diaphragm and releasing built up tension in the body from that diaphragm region. Finally, I wanted to say that nobody can do the work but you. Nobody can figure out your mind but you. But I also wanted to say that often it feels like, when things aren't going well in your life, it feels like I'm the only one in this situation, or it feels like there's no path out of this situation, that I'm really stuck here. And to that, I wanted to say that having some trust or having some belief that I can get out of this, that I have the power to get out of this, and to recognize that there's a path out of this. And if there's a possibility that I can move from a state of suffering or dissatisfaction into a state of more contentment and peace, that would be great. In particular, think about who would you rather be? A billionaire with $1 billion in his bank account, but he's absolutely miserable? Or a homeless person that's really content and happy and having a blast every day and waking up as if this was the best day of his life? Is just living, having a really good time. I think you'd probably say, I'd rather be that homeless person. And if you didn't say that, then I would highly suggest looking at what really you want to get out of life, and if you are perhaps deluded in some way. Now, I'm not saying it's better to be the homeless person rather than the billionaire. Obviously, it's great to have money as well. I'm not neglecting that. But what I am saying is the one thing we do have control over is examining our internal world and moving from a state of I don't accept this to it's okay, I can accept this, I can look into this, I can inquire into this, I can be mindful around this, I can change how I think and feel about something. And we do, in a sense, have the power over this. I know there's also the paradox of it's just occurring and we don't have power, but purely from a perspective of moving out of a victim's paradigm, it's really important to understand that sense of self that's there that can actually get out of this, and to recognize, well, I do have this power, and there are many things I can't control. Like, you can't control how you look, you can't control other people's reactions to you. But being in reality, living in truth, means to focus on the thing you can control and the thing that you can see, and see the truth of it. And the thing you can see the truth of is that internal world. And by seeing that, it's going to shift everything. Trust me on that.